are the degenerates that want to talk about it. Welcome to Kicking Out at 2. As always, this is Michael. This is Tori. Hey, Tori.
Howdy, howdy.
Letting your hair down, I see.
Yes, it's been rough today.
I hear you. Um,
Yeah, I'm sure you're real concerned about your hair each day.
Yeah, shave day. That's a step in the right direction. I gave a crap and got up.
That's a plus.
So today we are going to talk about Monday Night Raw. I don't really have anything scripted for news. I mean, just a couple of things that are kind of hot shots in the news right now. Mandy has been said to have made over $500,000 already, and it's probably going to crack $1 million by the end of the year. So
her agent reported that, and I'm not shocked at all. Once word got out, that it was. Here's the thing: I didn't know she had it. I knew she had like a fan account like that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was that kind of a fan account.
Mm-hmm.
Her getting released may be the best thing that financially happened to her.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee she's making more now than she was with that contract.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with an NXT contract. NXT contracts have been notably lesser.
She was still on the main roster contract. They never changed it.
Oh, okay. Well,
from what I read and I don't remember who reported on it, but I think it was Alvarez. So don't quote me on that, obviously.
Yeah.
But they said her contract was never changed to an NXT contract. It was a main roster contract still. That's why she's got a 90-day no-compete instead of a 30-day.
I wonder, just speculation, I wonder if that's why their hands were tied. Because I know the WWE contracts were very specific about like outside entertainment accounts.
Well, I think I have to sneeze. Hang on. Maybe. Okay. It was a thing, but I think because Vince made a big edict about that, blah, 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 there were some that were like, I'm not going to stop doing this. Like, I know AJ was one of them. He's like, I'm not going to stop my gaming channel. Yeah. Adam Cole was still there when he did it too. And he said the same thing. He's like, I'm not going to stop this.
Yeah. Well, if I remember correctly, the NXT contracts themselves never included that verbiage. So, like, Adam Cole slipped under the radar specifically because it wasn't in his contract. They couldn't say anything.
Right. It's just one of those things that it's stupid. Your contracts are nice and all, but we're going to call it what it is, they're independent contractors. You don't get to tell them what they can and can't do away from the business.
Right. If you're not going to let them unionize, if you're not going to give them some sort of benefits as far as health,
that's just it. And that's part of my beef with the Mandy thing. She's an independent contractor.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I've read said Mattel leaned on them about it, and that's why they had to do it. And I'm like, that's stupid.
So I did see it was a fun little snippet, and I think it was Sean Rossap. I don't quote me on that. Brought to you by Sonic, by God. So there was a note that apparently the one that brought it to everyone's attention was Matt
Bloom.
Which snitches get stitches.
Look, and he took it to Sean. And somebody pointed out, they're like, what? And I saw somebody tweeted about it. I don't remember who it was. It was some rando. But they're like, what is the irony of Shawn Michaels having to be the one that says you can't do that after everything he's done?
So I don't disagree, but I do disagree. And that's just like...
Right. No, I get...
Different time, different era.
Very much so. And I
They
agree
weren't
with
publicly
that,
traded at the time.
Okay, I do see the irony. That's pretty amusing.
Well, specifically him posing for Playgirl with the world title around his junk.
Yep.
But it's the
detriment. It wasn't around as it just covered it, but
it's valid. He's a heartbreak kid, not heartbreak elephant. So yeah, I mean that's interesting. And to pivot that into a little tidbit of news, apparently Chelsea Green has closed her OnlyFans account.
Really?
And there's been a lot of talk of her coming to...
She's coming back.
So,
she's coming back.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Here's the thing. If you're bringing... Yeah, she preemptively did it. I guarantee it. She shut it down. She's like, I'm not... After this, she went, no.
Mm-hmm.
We're not towing that line.
Yep.
But if you're bringing Chelsea back, please tell me you're bringing Cardona back, and don't bring him back as Zack Ryder. Bring in Matt Cardona. Let him be
Yeah.
himself.
So
He will get so over.
if they bring him back, I think that's the only way he'll come back, to be honest.
Yeah,
Because he
I
has
saw
said
that
in
he had
numerous
said
interviews, he's like, Zack Ryder's dead. That
Yeah.
character is done. So, I don't see them not bringing him back. It makes perfect sense. He's basically like, he hasn't hit the heights, and that's just because he doesn't have the platform. But he's Cody. He went out there. He
I
made
agree.
a name for himself.
I agree.
Running the indies. Bring him in.
He made a name for himself on YouTube,
Well,
and
yeah.
Vince hated that.
Yeah. That's
But
a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing. But yes, he has definitely gone out and done what Cody did and built his name.
Absolutely.
Because when I first heard his real name, I'm like, who the fuck is Matt Cardona? And then I was like, oh, that's Zack Ryder.
Yep.
Which I was a big Zack Ryder fan.
Yeah.
I liked Zack Ryder. I was a huge Zack Ryder fan. I was a big Heath Slater fan. We don't Slater hate around here.
No.
But it was just his one shining moment was one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's such garbage. And it totally came across as I'm doing this because I can. I'm doing this to you because I can.
Yeah.
But he's gone out. He's wrestled anybody that wants a piece. He's done it everywhere. And he's not getting paid a ton to do a lot of it.
No, and he's continued to do his YouTube channel. He's continued to do the major wrestling stuff. Like he's had no hiccup in his stuff, and he has said numerous times on his podcast, on different interviews, like if he never comes back, he's financially fine.
Yeah,
but he wants to come back to the Fed though, because that was his dream, and that's the thing I think a lot of people are missing. It's like, well, why would someone like Chelsea Green, for instance, why would she close something that she built herself? Well, because the choice is, I have this thing that I built myself, or I compete in the WWE, which is my dream to do. You go do the dream. Like it sucks.
I mean,
but...
it's no different than if I had one and I got a job as a WWE writer. Okay.
Yeah. Done.
Right. Because how many years have we been booking matches? Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
It just is one of those things that there's no chance I'm passing that up.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not. It's not going to happen. You're not turning down a chance to be what you consider the pinnacle of your profession.
Right. Well, I think we talked about on the last the last episode about like where WWE is in the echelon, and that's always the top of the mountain. Like, I love AEW, and I love how good it is, but still, there's people on that roster right now that if they had the chance to jump ship right now, they would. Just because it's WWE. That's what we were kids watching, going, I want to be there.
It's one of those things that it's like we talked about. We're in Oklahoma. OU is always going to be a big brother. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm an Oklahoma State fan, but we're little brother in football. That's all there is to it.
Right.
Basketball, I feel like it's a much more even playing field, but in football, oh no, it's time day.
You have a chance to be a running back for OU or OSU, whether you're an OSU fan or not.
Right.
You're going to pick OU because you get a better chance of winning some championships.
Right. You're going to get more national exposure, all of that. So, yeah, but back to the original topic, I don't blame Mandy.
No, I don't either. Well, and like I said, like I there is no reason I don't think that they'll bring her back at some point. So, yeah, get out there, make $1 million, come back later, and then you have even more of a bargaining chip. Because you're like, look, I'm making this much money on my own.
I don't need you anymore, but you need me.
Right. On her, the last little thought was that apparently the heads over at Impact have said if AEW does not snatch her up, they are massively interested.
Tommy Dreamer, I think he was on Busted Open.
Yeah.
And said, look, call me, text me, email me. I don't care. He said, if they don't snatch her up, we are seriously interested.
Mm-hmm. And it's a good call. Whoever
Right.
snags her up, it's a good call. If anybody snags
As
her up,
long,
she may not, but
and she may not, but as long as they're aware of it and know what it is and what she's doing,
yeah,
who cares?
yeah,
I personally, who cares anyway? But it's her body. Make that
yeah,
money, baby girl. I ain't mad at you at all.
yep, absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and kick off the show. We have Monday Night Raw coming from the home state of Seth Rollins. We're in the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa. We kick off the show with the undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns. He's backstage. He's mocking Kevin Owens for picking John Cena as his tag partner. And he's saying, basically, you need more than Cena. You need the entire Raw roster. So because of that, we're going to have the Bloodline come there, and they're going to make a statement.
See, and I was watching that. I didn't catch the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I caught the very end of it when he said something about the whole roster, and then we go to what's next, which is the Usos putting a beat down on
Yep.
Mustafa. Like, why this kid?
Ollie again. So we cut to backstage, and it's Sikoa and Sammy. They're beating up on Mustafa, and the Usos are playing hype men for the camera, kind of going back and forth, and
I
great
will
stuff.
say I love that it was like they had a phone and were doing this. That was so great.
It makes me think of like old Shield stuff and how cool that was, because it was like they just picked up a camera and did it themselves.
It kind of
very
felt that
guerrilla.
way. It had a little bit of that. It occurs to me that for this match next Friday,
Mm-hmm.
a week from Friday, it's not just going to be KO and Cena that come out.
It makes sense. At the very least, Ali coming out. Later, we'll talk about who else got beat down. But yeah, I mean, it makes all the sense in the world for more people to come out.
It's going to almost come
even
across
the playing field.
And there's nobody on SmackDown that's going to help the Bloodline.
No.
So they may get some people out to help them beat down the Bloodline.
Yeah. Well, and it's one of those perfect things. Like, I was listening to Road Dogg's podcast today, and he was talking about there was a situation back in the day where I want to say they were talking about Batista, and people were complaining that Batista wasn't losing at the time, or that he did lose. Excuse me, he did lose, and so does that make the title not matter? And he's like, well, here's the thing: like, once someone wins a title, how do you make them lose? Like, are they supposed to just win all the time? This is a perfect situation for Reigns to hit a loss.
Oh, Reigns not taking that L.
Well, not taking the L, but
he's going to take an L as a team.
Yeah,
but he's not taking that. It's possible, and actually, I personally, if I'm booking this, he does take the L.
Yeah, he gets beat down by everybody on the roster, and then hits a stunner from KO, and KO covers him to continue that.
Yep.
That doesn't hurt anything.
And then KO says, I pinned you on SmackDown. I want my shot at the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to put up our Raw logo? You're slacking on us.
Oh, man. I am.
Slacker.
I did it and then didn't put it up. There we go. Monday Night Raw.
I loved it. I messaged you as soon as I saw it. The Bloodline on Raw makes Raw better.
Yep. I'm still waiting on Woodsy to come back and say he's the only one in the last few years to have pinned Reigns. But either way. So yeah, they're beating up poor Mustafa Ali. Man cannot catch a break. He's doing some fun stuff on main event though, and some of the dark matches.
Has he?
He did a dark match with the models. And so, he was in the ring with not Marseille, the other one, Monsoir.
It's Mace.
So he's in there with Mansoir, the smaller one.
Oh yeah, that's Mansoor. Okay.
Yeah. And so he runs the rope. He slides out, and you've got the girl and
Maxine.
And Mace, and they're looking at the crowd. And you remember that spot way back when I think it was DX versus Eminem, and Sean slid out and he put his arm around.
Yes, because I saw a video, like a little video clip of that the other day, and I was like, that shit was so funny. And
He
she thought
did.
it was Johnny, and she starts like caressing his face and shit.
He did that. So he's got his arm around both of them, and they're like trash talking the crowd. And then they both turn and they go, "Ha!" And then he runs in the ring. Great stuff. This man
That's
needs to
great.
be on TV doing some stuff. He's entertaining, but either way. So yeah, so they're hyping it up, and they before leaving, they're saying that there's more work to be done. So obviously, we're going to see that more. And then again, like I've said, kind of week after week, I love these through lines, these storylines that we're going to hit little bits of it as we're going along. So obviously, we're going to get some more going forward. Um, then we get the Street Profits versus the Judgment Day, which Street Profits win. Montez Ford rolls up Finn Balor. Balor was distracted when Akira Tozawa threw a drink in Dominic's face. He was trying to throw it in Rhea. Rhea ducked. Dominic caught it in the face. Apparently, that's going to be Dom's new gimmick, is he keeps getting hit in the face with stuff because he's on the floor just holding his eyes. But post match though, Rhea lays out Tozawa.
She smacked the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Angelo, you gonna let her punk you like that?
Yep.
Bro.
And then she gets back in the ring and she's egging him on for a match, which, to my surprise, we got a full-on intergender match. Now, Tozawa didn't get any. He didn't get any offense in.
He got a little bit, and he did it very carefully.
Yeah, it was like pinning combinations and stuff. It wasn't.
I loved how they
hitting.
did it. I enjoyed the way they did all of that.
Yeah,
I thought it was a very well done. And if we're getting more of that, I need Mia Yim, Sheldon Benjamin. Let's keep this Twitter feud going.
Absolutely. So before the Rhea and Tozawa thing happened, though, so we come back from commercial and the Profits are standing there with Tozawa and they're hyping this man up, like you got this, you're a dog, and then you got Montez Ford barking at him. It's just great stuff. So he finally he rips off the shirt and and then runs in the ring. But yeah, she ends up beating him. Tozawa went for the senton that he does, and that man needs to get a different finisher because he hasn't hit that thing in a long time.
He gets so high for that.
Yep. But he whiffs it, lands on his back. Rhea gets him with the riptide, and then does the riptide pin, which Merry Christmas Tozawa. So we go into Adam Pearce's office. He's on the phone. He's desperately asking someone to show up.
He said was, "Paul, this is Adam." He was calling Triple H.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's who he was talking. Who he was calling.
Well, was he calling that Paul, or was he calling other Paul?
It wasn't Heyman.
No?
No. He was like, "I've got business, blah, blah, blah." No. He was the theory, the impression was he was calling Hunter.
Okay. So then he has an interview kind of waiting up there. He says that he and Lashley have spoken, and Lashley is going to be back. They just need to hammer out the details, and then come in MVP. So
I think we're getting the Judgment Day, or we're getting the Hurt Business back.
I certainly hope so, because if we could get Cedric and Shelton back in a limelight, I'd really like that. And like I've said before, he hasn't broke with Omos yet. Omos just being the heavy behind everybody, a lot like is it Satnam Singh, the one that's very much like that. Just be the tall guy in the back that just every once in a while you snatch someone and throw them.
Here's the thing with Omos, that gives them how many members of the Hurt Business that are active?
That gives you 4. 5 if MVP loses the I'm hurt gimmick.
But if there's somebody else they add to it, it would give them 5.
Yeah.
There's 5 members of the Bloodline.
Yeah. I'd be good with it.
And they need to if they put the Hurt Business back together, they need to be ruthless, aggressive, just ripping through people.
Yeah. So MVP is about to talk to Pierce. He says they got something to talk about, but before anything can really happen, A referee rolls up and says something urgent that Adam has to attend to. And we find out when we get back from commercial, Adam Pearce and Shane Helms are checking on Cedric Alexander and Dolph Ziggler, who have been absolutely assaulted by the Bloodline. So
yeah, I saw that, and I was like, so we have a Dolph Ziggler sighting.
yeah. Well, I was more excited by the citizen Shane Helms, but
Reporter, mild-mannered reporter.
Yep. And of
I
course he
used to
looks
love
down at
that
Dolph and
pose.
says, "What's up with that?"
I used to love that pose.
Yeah.
That shit was so good.
So then we end up in the next match. The OC defeated Alpha Academy via pinfall after hitting a magic killer on Chad Gable. Yeah, I mean it was a match.
That's what I have for it.
Yeah. The post match though, Usos and Sami Zayn run in and lay Gallows out with the 1D, which leads to Adam Pearce, Shane Helms, and Petey Williams coming down with a whole bunch of security.
They laid out Anderson too. They hit them both with it.
Yeah. Oh, did they hit Anderson with it too?
Yes.
Okay, I only saw them hit Gallows. Okay. So we get back from commercial. Bloodline has a mic in their hands. They tell Pierce to check it out and open their ears. When it comes to the Bloodline, they run the business. Sami Zayn asks what Adam's problem is and tells them the crowd has no issue with that, with what they're doing. And of course, the crowd's cheering and egging it on. Quite frankly, he doesn't appreciate them rushing his dogs. Speaking of which, purchase a My Dog shirt. It goes to Sammy's Syria funds for the mobile units that he has out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a pro wrestling t-shirt. It's not on WWEshop.com. All the proceeds go. Jey Uso has the mic, says that the longest running tag champs of all time, and if they have a message to deliver, they're going to deliver that message. What you've seen tonight is a small example of what will happen to Kevin Owens and John Cena when they face the honorary Uso and the tribal chief. Pierce calls for security to get them. Zayn says they're done here anyway. Calls for Jey to drop the catchphrase. Ones, y'all are the twos. And they show up the ones and they peacefully walk out. And then Sami Zayn gets waylaid by AJ Styles.
AJ busted him. I was like, I wasn't sure who it was at first. I'm like, did a fan jump the rail?
So AJ went at him like the brick went to Daredevil in the last Spider-Man movie. It was just Jesus Christ. Out of nowhere. Didn't see it coming.
The difference was Matt Murdock caught that.
Yeah. Well, Sammy caught AJ. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mentioned Matt Murdock, and Grace immediately said, "What'd you say?"
There you go. Daredevil. So yeah. So then that finally gets split up. In Gorilla, AJ is yelling at Adam Pearce, demanding for a match against the Bloodline tonight, and Pearce gives him Sami Zayn later. Next, we get a sit-down interview with Byron Saxton. He's with Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss.
Oh, this was so good.
It was slow starting. I thought we were just going to get like the general face like.
I did too.
So Bianca just flat out says like, I don't trust you after last week. You know, all that's going on. But Alexa Bliss played it very well, and she was like, look, like everybody's talking about Bray Wyatt and making this about him. This is about me. He left me. He gave me abandonment issues. I had to go to therapy, and the therapy just made me, and I love that she said this because it's what I was saying, I think, a few weeks before we started this podcast. And it's like, that's what I want to see is her admit that she's a shell of herself. And that's flat out what she said. She's a shell of herself. And she doesn't even know what she's really doing anymore. So Bianca's skeptical, but she's willing to kind of give it a chance.
I thought Alexa's line of "I was winning championships before you walked through the door" was nice.
Absolutely, because that's the thing. Like we cannot forget that she was running this division at one point. Like it was her. The Bray thing kind of comes up behind them as they're about to walk out. Um,
The best thing I loved about it was the way Alexa kind of turned to look at Byron,
mhm.
and that went off, and she immediately went and reached for that and I was like,
Yep.
oh my god, like it
And
was
so,
so smooth.
yep. Well, and it's the production stuff. Like we talked on the Royal Rumble episode. Like I love that production stuff where it's just one thing into the next thing. And yeah, just she turns to look at Byron, kind of like to acknowledge that they're about to leave.
Did
Thing
you notice her
flashes.
facial expression changed?
Yep. Blank
That whole
stare.
thing was
Grab
that
it.
was
Bam.
so good.
Yeah.
And then Bianca's on the ground, and what do we see?
Yeah. We see Lilly popping out from behind a chair.
You said that I had to rewind it. I was like, oh shit.
Yep. Well, and the thing is, I love what we're doing here because again, like we talked before how people are talking about their ham fisting some of this Bray stuff, and not that I don't disagree, but like we still don't know where this is going because
No.
she said in that interview how much she disdains the whole Bray Wyatt thing, but then she's triggered by the Bray Wyatt logo, but then Lily's back too, which Lilly was after Bray.
Right.
So what?
Is it a battle of wills? Is it
Yeah.
two different things? Is it no.
Is she
I
three different
hope
people now? Is she the shell of who she used to be, plus the playful Lily holding doll Alexa, and she's also still got some of the hold from Bray, and so she's got a three-way battle for her soul. Like, it's a lot of cool stuff.
it is. It's good storytelling.
Yeah,
And it definitely makes this match with Bianca a lot more interesting.
it does.
Because
The idea that there may be some of that
the idea that Alexa
unbeatable
can
Alexa
win
Bliss.
this.
Yeah.
Like I before was like, she's not winning that. And now I'm not 100% sure that she's not.
Well, and that's why like I thought at first that Bayley was going to win that match. Because
Right.
Bayley Bianca makes sense, and then Alexa goes further down in the rabbit hole, pun intended, for that whole Bray thing.
Yeah.
But if we're going to have that fight right now, if she wins because she's possessed, no skin off Bianca. If she loses because she's possessed, no skin off Alexa. No matter
Right.
what, it can end either way, and it's fine. Just some good stuff.
Well, and it's one of those that Bianca may win the match, but she may not win the fight.
Mm-hmm.
It could be one of those that Alexa kind of snaps and
Snap is snap.
oh my god. Shut up. I always forget about that thing. But she snaps, she hits Sister Abigail over and over and over, or something like that,
Yeah.
where she loses the match,
And she,
or even have her win the match, but then get disqualified for not stopping,
yeah,
and then she loses the match. Referee reverses the decision, whatever. Bianca doesn't. It's one of those things that Bianca looks pretty unbeatable right now. Even with the losses that she's taken, she still looks like a world beater.
right.
And I think her catching a beatdown from Alexa and Alexa not remembering would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Even if she, like you said, even if she loses the match and she just, thing pops up on the screen, she goes blank and she just beats the living hell out of her. And then the next Monday on Raw, Bianca or Alexa tries to go up to Bianca like nothing happened.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be nice.
So great segment there, and then that leads us to a segment that happened. Miz defeated Dexter Lumis in a winner-take-all ladder match. The match was what it was, but Dexter was attempting to reach and grab the money, and then Bronson Reed showed up.
Jonah's back.
Yes. A lot of flack on Twitter right now. People talking about how, well, you were just main eventing at the the Tokyo Dome, and now you're just missing.
Was he really?
Yeah, like he was a big deal in New Japan right now. So it goes back to what I said at the beginning of this episode, though, is if this is end all. If this is where he wanted to be, I don't care if he was facing Okada for the title. If this
Yeah.
is where he wanted to be, this is where he wanted to be.
Well, and it's one of those that when he got released, we were all like, "What?"
Yeah, because
Because
he's one of those big dudes that like he doesn't move like a big dude, and he just has a
no,
presence about him.
he and that splash off the top is very and I keep comparing to him because he was the best one, but Bam Bam.
Yeah,
That because he doesn't really perch himself on the top. He just kind of
he
pushes
gets up there
himself.
and jumps. Yeah,
Well, he even keeps that one foot on the second rope and just kind of pushes
yeah,
himself off the top.
which is very much what Bam Bam did for the headbutt.
Right, and
Um,
that splash looks a lot like it. I think it's a good. Again, I think it's a good re-sign.
I think it is too. I do worry that we're starting to get a little bit bloated. Um, Now I know Hunter has still talked about his whole local globalization of trying to get more territories open in other countries. If that's what we're still leading to, then okay. But like, I hope he's careful with just signing everybody
Right,
back.
so we don't end up with 900 people on the roster and 12 of them on TV.
Yeah. Um, the splash is magnificent. He laid out Loomis with the splash. I guess they're calling it the tsunami. It was called the 747 before.
I
Um,
like the tsunami.
yeah. Um,
I mean, unless one actually hits somewhere, then we need to rediscuss this. But
yeah. Corey said a couple of times like that's not a frog. That's not a frog splash. That's a tsunami. And so saying
that's
that so
fair,
many times sounds like we want to get through your head that that's what we're going to call this.
right?
Um, so that leads us to Sami Zayn versus AJ Styles. Sami Zayn defeated AJ Styles via pinfall with a blue thunderbomb. The finish came after Zayn distracted the referee and Solo Sikoa hit Styles with a Samoan spike, leaving Styles compromised and allowing Zayn to pick up the win.
Good
Good
match.
win. Yeah, good match. Good win. Yeah.
What we expected from AJ and Sammy. I mean, both great in ring performers.
Yep.
Great
And
match. It
and
was a good match.
and both have that indie style, so it was really good to see them just kind of go out there and go and kind of
It
have some
definitely
fun with it.
seems. It definitely seems like the guys are being given guys and gals are being given a lot more leeway
Yeah.
to wrestle their style.
Yes, I believe so. I do hope, just because I love it, I hope we do get to see a Sami Zayn brainbuster on the top turnbuckle like he used to do back in the Indies, because
I'm
that is
sorry. He
sick.
what?
hmm So he would get them up in the corner. Usually he was on the second or the top rope in a brainbuster position, and he would just drop with them straight on the top turnbuckle. Yeah, it was sick looking. You should YouTube
I
that
can.
sometime.
I don't think they'll let him do it because that has so much potential to
Yeah.
go poorly.
I would like to see him do it. To me, it would be like that would be a special occasion thing, not an every match, not a constant. Like just
If he's
throw it
going to
out there every
hit
so
it, it
often.
needs to be um it needs to be like he does it to Owens. It needs to be
Yeah,
somebody that can take it, that has taken it, so on.
yeah. No, I'm with you there. I think an Owens, an AJ Styles, maybe even like a Champa or a Gargano, someone from that.
I was getting ready to say Johnny because he's small enough that he can take it. You know, Sammy's going to protect him, and it's going to look great.
Yeah, it's gonna look good. So that leads us to the Drip God himself. He's backstage and he's looking over his new Iowa merch. I like how we have seamlessly thrown him in as a face. Like it wasn't like he didn't change anything. All he did was come out there and they just went okay and just let them cheer him.
It started when they put in that change to his song
hmm
where the crowd started singing along and then he started directing traffic
hmm
and here we are.
Which last I heard, they're still talking about him versus Cody when Cody comes back. I'm interested to see how
I
you
don't
get
think they'll
that
do it
back.
right away. The only way that happens, I think, is if because Cody they went best of 3.
Yeah,
Cody won all 3 of them, didn't he?
all three of them. Yeah, he
Okay,
clean
so they
sweeps
win
it.
3. He won 3. Um, I, personally, I hope they don't.
I don't disagree.
I
If they do,
actually,
I don't want it to be like a feud thing. I want it to be a look.
what-
Last match, I wasn't healthy. I could tell you were going easy on me.
right? You could easily play that off.
Yeah,
Um,
I want you
if
at your
you're gonna
best.
do
You're
it,
gonna get me at my best, type of thing.
I think Cody comes back and wins the Rumble.
It could be absolutely.
And if Roman still has the titles, Cody Roman at Mania is huge.
It is.
And Cody winning does not hurt Roman at
The
all.
question is though, is it more profitable than Reigns versus Rock?
I'm not saying we're not going to get that too.
Yeah,
I think
it's gonna
I
be
don't see
interesting.
Roman. I don't see Roman not doing double duty.
Yeah,
I just don't.
it's an easy way to get one of the titles off of him. Have him keep
Because
one of them.
you're
Have
not
him
gonna
lose the
you're
other.
not gonna put one of the titles on Dwayne unless you're doing it to take the title off of TV.
Yeah, or he wins it, and then the next night he, because they've been talking about they've talked about kind of revamping some of the championships.
Okay.
Make another championship that looks different than the WWE Universal title, for instance. We'll say that that's the one he keeps. World Heavyweight title looks different, and he presents it on Raw the next night. Of obviously, I can't be here all the time. I'd love to be here all the time.
Right.
Here's my gift to you guys. Here's a new championship. Get a new champion. And then we get a tournament, which I love tournaments.
I do too. Especially with the quality of talent that would be in that.
Yeah.
I definitely think you could put the title on Cody, even if it's a short run. You absolutely should do it.
Yeah, especially with what he's been through just this like first few
Right.
months in, and he's already on the shelf. Like, and then, good lord, having a match with the torn pack. So Rollins is admiring his merch. He hears his music that causes him to leave and walk out. He says hi to Iowa and welcomes us to Monday Night Rollins. He says he's back and better than ever, and he recaps the show for us thus far, pointing out the Bloodline have jumped everyone but him.
Which was a nice touch.
Yeah, he's saying he's not saying they're scared, but he wants to deliver a message strictly to the tribal chief. Monday nights don't belong to him. They belong to Seth Rollins. Cue Austin Theory, who apparently can't put on a shirt anymore. The crowd chants that he sucks. Rollins confirms it. He just wants to make sure you guys are saying he sucks, right? Which was a nice little touch.
It was a great touch.
Before Austin opens his mouth and tells Seth that nothing belongs to him and the champ is here. Nice little touch there. Makes me think maybe we're leading towards an Austin Cena thing.
I think they want Austin Cena at Mania. And honestly, I'm here for it. And I think John does the job.
Absolutely.
I absolutely think this is very much a passing of the torch match.
So, and again, like I've told you that I don't like A-Town Down. I don't like that as a finisher. This would be a perfect way for him to take the AA and make it his own. Because that's basically what it is now. He just AAs him onto his knee. So have him stop doing it on the knee and just do the AA. Lead straight into it. Call it the AT.
I agree. I do. I think we're going to get Austin Cena at Mania. And I think Austin Theory wins it. And it's a pass. John raises his hand after the match, and it's literally a passing of the torch moment. And I think it's John's last match.
Yeah, could be. So whether he likes it or not, the Austin Theory era is here, and Seth is going to pass the torch to him. I do like the fact that throughout this entire thing, when Rollins would open his mouth, he'd end it with Kid, just because of what's been going on with him and Dolph. He specifically every time ended it with Kid.
Yes.
So nice little touches. Rollins tells him to keep his cool, or he'll end up like Bobby Lashley. Says it's funny to him because the only reason Seth is here is because Bob took his anger out on the referees and the officials and not on him. But it makes sense. Like his entire career, Seth has just been lucky. A little bit more back and forth, talking about how the growth of his character. He's no longer Mr. Selfie. He's no longer that guy. He's now the United States Championship. But the title means a lot more than that. Where he's like, it's always a situation where the title makes the man or the man makes the title. And right now the title is definitely making the man. So as they're about to maybe face off after this amazing line of Theory talking about Seth's been to the mountaintop. He's been there, but he's looking for Everest. Talking about Theory, he's looking for Everest. Seth says he hasn't just seen the mountaintop. He is the mountaintop. He is Everest. Wonderful way to kind of point that down of like, kid, you don't even know what you're talking about. I am the top of this business.
Right.
So we're kind of getting a stare off. It looks like we're about to get a quick back and forth. But then at that point, the Usos appear in the crowd and hop the barricade.
Before that, did you catch the line? You're now the third.
Oh, yeah. You are the third most successful Shield
member of the Shield.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know about all that.
I mean, he ain't entirely wrong.
Okay. This is a whole debate. We're not okay.
Argument could be made. That's all I'm saying. Argument could be made. I think number 2, but could be an argument made for number 3. How about this? We will argue that maybe on
Next
another
week,
time.
it's a review show or something.
Yeah. So you got the Usos hopping the barricade. Owens comes out to save Seth from the beatdown.
The Usos hop the barricade, and Seth's like, "We got this. Our issue has to wait."
Oh, yeah.
And Theory takes a powder,
which it looked like he was going to stand with him.
It looked like for a second he was like,
taking off the jacket. He dropped it, and just like he slowly slips the jacket back on, picks up the title, dip,
and dips. And Seth's like, "You bitch."
But so KO comes out. They fend off. Owens puts Jimmy into the barricade and rolls in the ring with Jay. Rollins recovers. Right hand sends Uso packing. Sends both Usos packing. Excuse me. Jimmy gets back up on the apron. They run them off though. All the crowd of road agents come down to kind of save the day, like try to separate everybody. That's who it was.
I saw Petey out there. I'm like, don't fuck Petey up again.
He's gonna get sprayed out of his shoes again. It's gonna happen. And so Seth grabs the mic and says it's nice to see KO back, and then proposes a tag team match, which is interesting because they were a tag team, which we'll get to that a little bit later. Bayley defeated Becky Lynch via pinfall with a rose plant.
Surprised the hell out of me.
It did me too. I like the finish though. It wasn't completely straight up, so Becky losing doesn't exactly get hurt. Lynch dealt with interference from Damage Control throughout the match, with it finally coming to a head as they distracted the referee, allowing Bayley to hit Lynch with a ringside monitor, the monitor that Lynch pulled out before to fend off Damage Control. So nice little touch there, hitting the rose plant for the finish. Just a side note, why is it called the rose plant?
I don't know. I've wondered that, like where. I like that they still call it the Bayley to Belly, but I do like that people kick out because it's not the finish anymore.
Yeah, right. That's just a signature at this point. I don't know. I just I hear Rose Plant, and I'm like, shouldn't that be like a Mandy Rose finisher? Like, doesn't that make more sense to
Amanda Sunflower?
I don't get it. That's right. I saw that and immediately I said to you, Amanda Sunflower is all elite.
Because that was great.
Now we go backstage. We see Seth Rollins getting ready, and Kevin Owens rolls up. Seth says it's been a long time since they teamed, and they were really good together. And kind of just reminisces, why did we stop teaming? And then Owens reminds him that Rollins tried to steal his WrestleMania spot, and they bicker back and
Seth's
forth.
like, no, I didn't do that.
That's not like me. I would do that.
That's not me at all.
Seth slips and then says he remembered it, and then they agree that it happened, and then kind of closes out the segment.
Look, here's the thing. This whole thing with KO is everybody in the back that he's teamed with, he's turned on. And so they keep doing, like Elias, like, no, after everything you put me through, no.
Yep.
And now Seth, and I'm just like, who's next? Is Jericho going to show up for one of these? Like, what is happening?
No, the air fryer's not going to show up. So we get Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. They defeated the Bloodline via pinfall. Sikoa made his way. It was a great match. Sikoa made his way to the ring during the match, but was taken out by the OC. After Owens and Rollins seemed to have the upper hand, with Owens hitting Jey Uso with a stomp outside the ring. Theory appeared in the crowd and hit Rollins with the United States Championship belt. With Owens and Jimmy Uso alone in the ring, Owens was eventually able to hit a pop-up powerbomb for the win. I feel weird with him winning with a pop-up powerbomb now. Like, that had almost turned into, like, a signature. So
I kind of like it, though.
Yeah.
I like it because it changes. I like it for what they're doing because I think it's going to give that whole, how's he going to beat him? Is it going to be the powerbomb? Is it going to be the stunner?
I can see that.
You know, and that powerbomb, it's just a throw off the ropes. You can hit that from at any time.
Yeah.
So I'm here for. I like it. I think it was a good. I think it was a right call.
Definitely, I think it was a right call. I mean, by no means do I think that they should not have won that match. But I do. I don't know. Like I said, to me, it had kind of become a signature move. I don't know about it being a finisher at this point. Owens is in there by himself, and Zayn kind of sneaks in like he's going to attack him from behind. Owens turns around, and then they just kind of have a little stare down, and Zayn slithers away.
I saw that, and I was like, okay, so that's another time. I mean, other than War Games, that's another time Sammy's had a chance to attack Kevin and didn't.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Like, they're planting so many seeds that I wonder if we're not going to do that.
I think they're going to do that. I think that this is going to end up being one of those that Sammy and KO are going to be like, this whole thing became an elaborate ruse to get you to trust Sammy. We've been friends for 400 years.
Yeah.
You guys showing up and acting like you like him isn't going to change that. Because it's like Sammy with the slip of the tongue. I'm his only friend.
So it's going to be fun to see where it goes. I do like the idea of it being an elaborate plan, because if you think about it, like, Sammy started his things right after the KO and Reigns match. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Start that ball rolling. That's not bad. That's long.
No, I definitely think this is going to come out as one of those. We've been planning this the whole time. This is what it needs to end with KO taking a title.
Yeah. Regardless
of which one it is, regardless of how they do it, it needs to end with KO taking a title. And I mean, you could almost. It's kind of played out, but it's been a while since anybody's done it at the same time. Sammy's in his honorary Oos shirt or whatever. And after the match, he pulls it off and has a KO shirt under it.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or a different shirt for himself.
Currently though, like, what's old is new. There's a spot on NXT that's been going around the internet now. It was, try it again. Braun Breaker is in the ring with Grayson Waller. And they do, like, the back and forth where they miss each other on the ropes. And then Breaker spears Waller. Well, they both lay there out. And then Waller starts to move, gets up, and he's wearing a bulletproof vest, and he pulls the metal plate out of it. And I'm like, oh, we're bringing back that. Because that's a Bret
Wow.
Hart special right there.
Right?
Yeah, so good show overall. I mean,
Very good show. It was, like I said, the Bloodline makes it a better show.
yeah,
As old as it is starting to get old, but it's starting to get NWO vibes,
mm-hmm.
which isn't a bad thing, but can be a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we're not adding like 5 more Usos to the stable, I think we're okay.
Well, it's not even that. It's the numbers game always was in the NWO's favor, and it got old.
Yeah.
I do think them taking some L's is not a bad thing. Like them losing to Owens and Rollins doesn't hurt them at all.
Right.
Sammy beating AJ is big for Sammy, but even if he'd have lost, he's still AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Like, there's not, you losing to him is not a bad thing. It doesn't hurt you.
It doesn't. But then again, I mean, the Bloodline did lose in the tag match later than
Right,
so...
that's what I'm saying. I definitely think that, and that's why I think Roman and Sammy a week from Friday lose.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think there needs to be a few more losses to kind of even that out because, yeah, I mean, at one point the NWO was like it was the monster faction. They never lost.
They had like 19 people. There was always somebody at ringside with somebody.
Yeah.
Until they got tired of somebody and turned on them and somebody else joined. But I think, first of all, this is Cena's first match in a year and like 9 months.
Yeah.
Was his last match that match with Bray?
I believe so, yes. So, yeah, I mean, it's...
So I'm wondering how much ring rust John will have.
The thing with Cena is, like, we mentioned he's a freak of nature as far as healing. He's also a freak of nature every time he gets in that ring after having a year off. Like,
and that's fair.
He seems to be so smooth coming back every time.
He doesn't miss it. Like, it makes me wonder if he's putting in ring time even when he's doesn't have anything going.
Yeah. Which wouldn't surprise me. He
wouldn't surprise me in the slightest either. Oh yeah.
I've always said the same thing about The Rock too. I wouldn't be surprised if in his gym he's got a ring in there that he just every so often hops in and just loosen the legs and see what happens. It's definitely gonna be interesting. I mean, I think we're headed to another like celebrity studded WrestleMania. Because they're already teasing like who should be Austin's next opponent. We're getting these teases of maybe an Austin Theory versus John Cena. We've got constant talk of Rock versus Reigns. I am afraid of us turning it into an old timers WrestleMania. Like,
the difference. Okay, so here's the thing, and I understand your point, but Cena can still go.
Yeah.
I guarantee Dwayne can still go.
Mm-hmm.
Austin didn't look bad in that match.
He didn't. And as long as they play to their strengths, that's okay. To me, it's not about the ability, though. To me, it's the, like, again, like, we're at a point where we're getting a lot of people on the roster, and we're giving up 3 big spots to 3 former names.
Yes, but depending on who you put in there with those former names, like obviously Rock Reigns, if Roman wins he's huge. It's still a huge rub.
It's
even huge. With where he is now.
And here's the thing: win or lose, like I understand that's a money match. John Cena coming back is a money match. People will watch just for that reason.
But that's that. If we get Cena Theory, it's a huge rub for Theory. It's a main event position that he really hasn't been in.
Right.
It may not be a main event, but this is everybody's watching.
So, and that's the thing, like with that type of match, there's always a statement of the fight of like, is the main event or is the main event the show? Like the fact that you get to go there and be in a prominent role on the show. What is exactly being in a main event? No, you're right. If he gets to face Cena, that's his main event. Like whether he's first on the card, third on the card, or last on the card, that's something he's going to hang his hat on for a long time. Of personally, and not even character wise, I got to face John Cena at WrestleMania, and then he goes over because that's who Cena is. His character gets to have that hung on the wall for a long time. Of I beat Cena at WrestleMania.
Look at Miz. He's still riding that pony.
Yeah.
How long's it been?
Well, Jericho still pops it off once in a while.
I beat Austin and The Rock in the same night.
Yeah.
Like, but that's what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying. And yes, they do have a lot of talent. But with that long of a show, 2 nights, 4.5, 5 hours each.
Yeah.
You can put a lot of people on a plate.
You can. I'm sure it won't happen because I think the people that are in charge now are a little bit smarter than that. I was afraid when it started going to 2 nights that we were going to get 2 nights of 7 hours. Like that eventually was going to happen. I don't think it will now. 2 nights of 4 hours, yeah, I can see that.
I do think we'll get some pre-show matches, so it will seem like 6 or 7 hours. Just because it's WrestleMania, if you do a pre-show match, you're still performing WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
Like, you're still on a WWE card WrestleMania weekend.
Yep. Well, and especially with us talking about eliminating some of the secondary yearly pay-per-views. Like, they were talking about bringing Money in the Bank back to WrestleMania instead of having it being its own thing.
I mean, if you're doing that, so let wrap up Raw, and then we may even want to make this a side thing.
Yeah. So, like we said, overall a very good show. I'm always a little worried when we get towards the end of the year, towards the holidays, of how good they're going to be. Are these just going to be blow off? They
gonna phone it in. This was a good show.
It was a good show. It had the nice through callback to the Bloodline, beating down people throughout the night. They got their comeuppance at the end of the night, so it was a nice change of pace.
Yeah,
Bloodline was not on top at the end of this, so it was definitely good. But that wraps us up. Thanks for spending your time with us. If you're enjoying our podcast, please support us. Share this episode. Share our channel with others, and follow and hit us up on our socials. We got our personal socials down below. We have our channel socials over there. Our next round of recordings, you'll see a new one down there because now we have a TikTok. So that'll be on there soon. Yeah, definitely like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hit the bell. If you want to catch up with all of our stuff, everything is right here on YouTube at Kicking Out at 2. Until next time, I'm Michael. This is Tori, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.